Jalen, look how high he is. Bro, I'm trying to stay with this thing. Bro, relax, y'all. Bro, can I put my finger on this? Why would you do that? Stick to your finger. All right, stop. All right, I'm gonna let it go. See, it's going up. 2 people going up already.
No, because there's more weight down there.
And so we're not trying to control your fingers on.
Austin Kimmel, Friday Night Glory here. What's your name, man?
Aaron Mazyck,
What position do you play?
offensive tackle,
And what year are you?
senior.
All right, Aaron, you got a big few weeks headed up, a bye week this week, but another huge matchup next week is Frisco Lone Star. What are you taking into next week's game?
We're taking a lot of heart and a lot of hard work. We got to give it all if we want to make history and get into the playoffs and then win a playoff game. So we're trying to put in a lot of work. And then today, with the team building, that's been a problem. We're trying to really work together so we can really team up against Lone Star and Aubrey the next 2 weeks.
What do you think the goal was of that helium sticks exercise that we saw?
I think that's to get everyone on the same page and I guess in sync, because I think it's pretty important, especially being an offensive lineman, to get all the linemen on the same page, blocking the right people and stuff like that.
You've done a lot of scouting on Lone Star. Do you have any idea what you're coming up against next week?
I think it's going to be a good fight. I think they're a good matchup for us, and I think it's going to be a good game.
All right, thanks a lot, man. What's your name?
Sam Ward.
What position do you play?
I play defensive end and left guard.
And what's your year?
I'm a junior.
Okay. Got a big few weeks coming up. I was hoping you could react at all about next week's matchup against Lone Star and your approach to the end of the season.
I'm looking forward to us against Lone Star. I think it's going to be a good game. They look like a pretty good team, but I think we can outdo them. We just got to work on our team building. We got to stick together, make sure we don't crumble. Because in earlier games we fall apart, but I think we can outlast them this game.
What's your impression on the team building exercises recently, the helium sticks that we saw, and also yesterday's practice?
I think they're good to help us out with people arguing and stuff like that. You got to work together to finish it, and we got to work together to finish this season.
Austin Kimmel, Friday Night Glory here. What's your name, man?
My name is Darius Heath.
What positions do you play?
I play inside linebacker and running back.
And what's your year?
Surprisingly, I'm a sophomore. So.
Surprisingly. All right, what's your outlook for the next week? Actually, the next 3 weeks. You got big matchups coming up against Lone Star next week in particular.
Lone Star, they're a pretty well team. They have the same schemes we do, so I feel like we'll be familiar with the schemes that they're going to be running against us. So we should be ready for them. Honestly, Ranchview is a pretty good team, and we come a long way since last year. So we should put a whooping on Lone Star.
All right. So what's your impact on these, or what was your impression on these last team building exercises you've been doing the last few days?
We've done well as a team. Communicating with each other. There was just some things that we need to work on, to become a playoff team, to reach the goals that we actually want to. We still have a few flaws that we have to, run over, smooth over, So.
What do you feel like about these team building exercises?
These team building exercises, they've helped us to become better at communicating with one another. Helping each other, letting each and every single person do their job, because in a football team you have to worry about your job and your job only. And when everyone else is doing their job, everything else goes out great.
All right, man. You got a couple of big district games coming up. We hope you have great practice throughout the week, and we look forward to seeing you on next week.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. These team building exercises, lately the most recently the helium sticks. Could you explain that a little bit?
Well, it's just a really light piece of wood, and everybody has to stay together and lower it to the ground. And they're called helium sticks because you're not allowed to take your fingers off, and so as you try to put your fingers on, you end up driving. It drives up into the air, and it's an exercise in communication. It's an exercise in letting someone be a leader. You know, there's a lot of kids that we have that they're not normally our most outspoken kids, but they're really sharp and they see things a little bit differently than other people, and it's really cool to see some kids step to the forefront in a situation like that and, you know, come up with ideas and watch all the other kids that are used to being the leaders have to kind of take a back seat to them and follow them. And you know, there's kids that are followers that aren't used to being leaders, kids that are leaders that aren't used to being followers, and it's really good for them to learn both sides.
And Coach, you have 2 big district matchups coming up the next 3 weeks. What's your approach against Lone Star next week?
Well, we have to win. You know, we were defeated by 2 of the best teams in the state with Argyle and Salina. They're both fantastic. We were missing a lot of our kids during those games, but they still beat us. That's not an excuse. But we have to beat Lone Star. We need to beat them. Aubrey was able to beat them by 11. And so with points and all the playoff ramifications, we need to beat them. They're very, very well coached. They do a terrific job. They're very athletic. They have more depth than we do. Their schemes are real familiar with us because we do a lot of the same things that they do. But they're very physical, very aggressive, and very well coached, and we're going to have to come out and play and execute.
Coach, after the 2 highly competitive teams that you've played the last 2 weeks, is this bye week?
They were great.
Yeah, these fantastic undefeated teams in district. Is this bye week placed at the perfect time for you guys?
Absolutely, especially with our injuries. We lost 3 kids after the Salina game. We lost 3 kids after this game, and so this is going to give us the opportunity to get them back, get them healthy. And plus, you know, we really needed to focus on getting our team back together and becoming the confident team we were. You know, we were 4-1 and sailing along pretty good. And we lost 3 games in a row, and you know, we lost to 2 undefeated teams and a team that's lost 1. So it's not like we've been getting beat by a bunch of Joe Blows. We've been getting beat by some pretty good teams, and we need to regain our not swagger. That's really a dumb word, but we need to regain our confidence and go out and play hard.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, since Brandon Gilbert is his first game to actually lead in carries last week, is he going to be Stewart?
Yeah.
Did I say Gilbert? Okay, Brandon Stewart, his first game to lead in carries last week. Is he going to be the leading carrier from here on out, or are you just playing that by ear?
We're having to play it by ear. He was one of the kids that we lost at the end of this last game as well, and plus Dominique Carter should be back by that time, and his brother Day Carter. Both of those guys should be back, so we should have a full backfield.
All right, Coach, we look forward to seeing you next week. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks a lot.